Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Culture Clowns Podcast.
Welcome one and all to the greatest podcast on planet Earth. And today,
Hold on, before we fucked up last week, asshole. I'm your host, Jay Combs, a.k.a. Mr. J Stay Saucy. That's JayStaySaucey.
Yeah, just spell that shit out real quick. Hell yeah.
and I'm your co-host, M. Kennedy Simbai. That is M. Kennedy Simbai, a.k.a. HMT. And you can find me on Instagram at PROD.BY.H.M.T. That's prod by HMT. And today,
We got a hot, young, fresh, new up-and-coming talent, young legend. I said it last week, but, sometimes you just got to realize that some people are genuinely made for this shit. And we do have an up-and-coming legend.
we do.
Hey, I love the sound of that.
We do.
Got his Loke song looking like Bruno Mars.
He really does look like Bruno Mars. Like, actually, high key.
Just
Hey,
in
hold
a
on.
Cadillac.
It looked like,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a thinner Bruno Mars, like a...
Hey, if Bruno Mars was 6 foot tall, he'd be a dangerous guy. I mean,
He's like 5'6", right?
oh, yeah.
No way, he's 5'6"?
Yeah, he's a short ass motherfucker.
He's like not
He's that
even-
short?
Yeah, he's not that high.
I was shocked when I found out how short Tom Cruise was. And then once, we went to acting school and found out about like Apple boxes and shit.
high
That's when I
levels
was
and
like,
stuff.
oh, that's how they get away with lying to us. I was like,
Yeah, no,
okay.
Hey, you know what's wild? When you see their before and after picture, that nigga Tom Cruise was ugly. Ooh, boy, he had some trumpers on him. His teeth was curled up. It's like they were turned and brown.
Oh, yeah. Actually, if you look at a picture of Tom Cruise, his teeth are off-centered. Like, the middle of his teeth right here
Yeah.
are off here to a little bit. I don't know why I know that shit.
So are y'all gonna go see the new Top Gun? Are y'all gonna see it?
It's, you know what? I think I am going to watch it
Uh-huh.
because apparently it's better than the first one.
That's
And
what's-
apparently it's good.
what my roommate
it's getting
told me.
very good ratings.
my
I
roommate
have
told
no
me that.
reason
He
not
was
to
like,
watch it.
Yeah, you definitely gotta go see it. I was like, man,
So
the
I've
first
been-
one was kind of like,
I've been kind of picky with cinema lately. I'm gonna be real honest, because
Okay.
it's like nowadays, especially with I guess how much Marvel is like cranking out and all the remakes that are being made. I look at like real and original stories like it's a godsend. Like, have you guys seen Everything Everywhere All at Once?
yes,
Yeah.
bro, I love that movie.
I'm
It was
definitely
like
trying to watch
written
that.
so good, bro. Like it's about this lady and she goes through these different dimensions, like finding different aspects of herself, and it's
Stupid creative.
crazy,
Crazy,
creative,
crazy.
and like written. When I tell you, it's written in a way, it's so complex, like so technically complex, but it's written in a way that your grandma could understand it
Yes.
and keep up with it.
Yeah, and it's not like just a thematic story. You walk away with actual lessons. So like, never have it's been so long since I went to go see a movie that has made me laugh, cry, and think about the world that I live in. And comparing that to like for an example, I bring up Marvel earlier.
Yeah.
There was a time where I considered that real real cinema, but then as soon as you realize people are gonna go to the box office regardless, like whether you have like a name or a title or whatever, you can slap Thor, Wanda, like whatever on it, and people are gonna go see it. And
See, ladies and gentlemen,
Honestly-
this is why we have this man on here, because he is a very cultured individual, as you can tell.
Hey,
He has
listen,
very
listen.
good takes.
Ain't nothing wrong with
Yeah.
the Marvel Cinematic
No,
franchise.
no, I'm a
Y'all
Marvel
ain't gonna
nerd.
sit
Okay,
here
you-
and like bash good
No.
superhero films, because I'm a sucker for a good superhero film.
Yeah,
Mr. Omar Hussein, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing amazing. It's been good vibes so far. I'm glad that y'all had me on here today.
Yeah, thank you so
Appreciate
much
it
for
so much,
joining
man.
us. I was like, did we even say his name earlier? I was wondering. I was
I
like, did
cut
we
him
even
off.
introduce?
How do you say the last name?
Hussein.
That's
Hussein.
right.
Yeah, but
Hussein.
my working title is Omar Idris.
Omar Idris.
Idris
I
is
like
my,
that.
is my dad's first name, and my
Shout
last
out.
name, man. If you were born around 1998, I guess like that Hussein has probably that name has caused me some grief. I'm back from Texas, so these old country patriots, you know what I mean?
The
They're like,
Patriots. Yeah, he said, I don't know about that there fella over there. That name Hussein.
That had to be very interesting.
No, I have stories, man.
Cool,
I
that
have
could be very
stories, but
interesting.
like,
yeah, of course, of course, of course.
Omar Idris just worked a lot better for me out here whenever I put that in like my working title.
I
So
like it. It's slicker. I honestly think it just
So I
rolls off the tongue.
gotta ask though, did you have to use the Hussein while in elementary school around that time?
Oh yeah. Spelled it out and everything, and you'd always get the same look from adults, especially like when like I guess Saddam Hussein was like hung, like he'd be like, "Hey, what's your name?" Like Omar, and they'd be like, "Nah, what's your family?" and I'm like, and then I'd say, I'm like, okay, and then be like, oh, like Saddam. I'm like, no, like I can read your
You know
mind.
what's actually crazy?
Oh shit.
So, and this is like the first question. So basically, tell the people where you're from, and I'm gonna tell you why it's crazy. So tell where you're from and like how you found your way to LA, all that.
Well, I was born in Saudi Arabia, and
Okay.
I moved to Texas ever since I was like old enough to have like a thought. And you know, I went through college, I went through school, I even taught high school theater for a year, and then I was like, okay, these are all great things, but they're all kind of leading up to my one passion that I love unconditionally. Like when I say unconditionally, I like teaching, but there was things about it that I couldn't live with forever. When I act, I feel so free, I feel so light, I feel like I'm a kid in a playground again and making money from it. I was like, no way, I cannot be in LA. So after a year, I dropped my teaching contract and moved to North Hollywood, and now it's been a little over 6 months.
That's impressive, man.
Yeah.
That's real impressive. And I'm interested to know, like, what.
Hold on, before so
Yeah.
you say you're from well, you were born in Saudi Arabia,
Yeah.
but you also like have the thing. I noticed that you claim what's it called?
Somalia?
Yeah, Somali.
So I claim Somalia because that's like it's my ethnicity. But my dad, he met my mom in Saudi. So
Okay.
like Saudi is like, you know, where the Kaaba is, and
You're right.
like
Hell yeah.
born and raised Muslim. So like, you know, you've heard of like the pilgrimage, right?
Hell yeah.
Like
To
where-
Mecca? Yeah,
Right,
to
right,
Mecca,
right.
Of course,
So,
of
like,
course.
my
Hajj.
dad was literally making Hajj with like his dad for like the third time, like. And he met my mom there. They, you know, got together, blah, blah, blah. And
Cool.
had my 2 older brothers, then had me. And then they're like, okay, man, it's time to move westward.
Yeah.
Time for like a better
It's
life.
time
you know
for
what I
that
mean?
expansion, that westward expansion.
Yeah,
I feel
manifest
that.
destiny, you know.
Manifest destiny.
Yeah,
You
and
gotta
then-
get it, man.
And then, just kind of grew up in Texas for a minute.
Yeah,
which
yeah.
Texas feels like a completely different country than it does like out here.
I still haven't been to Texas.
Put it like this: you want to think Texas, think the South, think everything you can think about the South, but think L.A.
Because
Mix them.
Because you're from Louisiana, so you
Yeah.
have to drive through Texas to if you're driving back to Louisiana.
Who
You
the fuck
drive.
gonna drive to Louisiana from California, homie?
I know, buddy.
Look here.
I mean-
I know you from parts of the world where y'all countries are like pea small shapes.
And they
But let's
You
just put it
know,
like
they
this: to
travel
give,
to work 20 miles every
20
day.
every day.
Bro,
Blisters on my feet.
to go. I was looking. No, like hear me out. And this is something I want foreigners to understand. And this is crazy. They be like, "Oh, America's so self-centered or whatever, so only includes in such a isolationist country." You gotta realize. And I know I'm bringing this point up because I seen it on like TikTok or someone. Somebody brought this point up. In America, America is literally the same size as most country, like most geographical like continents.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Like you could put America in a whole tower, Europe, and it probably can fit everything in.
Oh, America's big as fuck.
Okay. And then also you throw into the fact we by ourselves on the opposite side of the world with only 2 other countries. Technically, like 2 other bordering countries. I mean, and then you throw on top of that, in this big old massive land, you got different states, all with their own different.
Oh yeah.
Thing,
Everything has a different culture because everybody comes from different places.
Exactly.
And LA is the biggest melting pot of that I have ever seen.
Yo, LA is
Yeah.
wild,
It
dude.
is
The combinations here, bro. Like you be meeting people. You know, some of these females they're like Fijian and Nigerian.
Yeah,
Like
I don't think I've ever
I'm not-
spoken to an
Uruguayan
Albanian.
and
I-
Italian.
met
I'm
an
like,
Albanian.
damn, bruh.
I met an
I
Albanian.
just recently met an Albanian for the first time.
I've
Like,
yet
Oh,
to
really?
meet
Yeah.
a Fijian, somebody from Fiji.
Yeah, I've met people from Fiji
not met
before.
anybody from Fiji.
Here in LA, you meet people from everywhere, bro. I met like Filipinos here for the first time, and like just crazy. The Armenians, I met them for the first
Armenians,
time
they
here. There's
are
tons of
everywhere.
them.
Yeah,
They're
yeah, yeah.
everywhere,
I'll be
bro.
honest with you. I still couldn't tell an Armenian Like they like, oh, everybody's like, oh, that's an Armenian. I'm like, oh no, I guess.
You probably
I
confuse
can
them
tell.
for Russians, don't you?
You probably do with Persians, but
Probably.
they're not
Well,
Persians.
they have the same kind of look where they just look mad at everything.
No,
Yeah.
I have a Russian friend, but he looks super European. Like Anton,
Oh yeah, yeah.
he looks nothing like a Russian.
The thing that people don't understand about Russia is that because Russia spans 2 continents, Europe and Asia, there's so many different types of Russians. You get like Western Russians, like Moscow Russians, like Anton. You get like Chechnyan Russians who are obviously Muslim and some of whom look closer to even like Armenians, that kind of more darker sort of, you know what I mean? Then you get like Far East Russians who are like basically look Korean or look Chinese. It's the craziest thing, and I always think to myself like, dude, just the genetic variation on this planet, and in particular in just like certain countries, is just nuts, dude. Like the United States, I think to myself like, I walk past people and I'm like, this is really the future. I'm like, I can't tell like what race you are. I can't tell anything about you. Like
when you have
So-
all those different like mixes of like races and
Yeah.
cultures and ideologies,
Yeah.
like what America is,
yeah.
it baffles me that we still have like a 2-party system, because it's like, dude,
Yeah.
how many different points of views,
I'm
perspectives,
gonna be honest.
cultural
I think
influences?
Dude.
like
Like,
so. I'm gonna get my point with that, right?
Mhm.
I got 2 points to that.
Yeah.
So so your point about, yes, technically speaking, to get to California, you would have to drive through Texas.
Mhm.
But to get through Texas, it's gonna take a day just to get through Texas in itself.
It's a big ass state. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie. I underestimated how big it was.
So,
Mm.
but yeah, I do stay I stay literally on the border of Texas. So yeah, I'm very familiar with the Texas culture and Texas
Oh,
thing.
Shreveport's on the border?
Pretty much. Like, put it like this.
Uh.
So Louisiana is a little geographical lesson for Louisiana.
Mm.
Louisiana is separated into parishes, and it's the only state in the country that's separated into parishes because of French.
Mhm.
So we still have a lot of French laws, French customs, and weird French colloquialism or whatever. So anyway, Shreveport Parish or Caddo Parish is literally right on the border. It's like in the northwest corner of the state.
Mhm.
It's on the border of Arkansas and Texas. Arkansas to the north and Texas to the left. if
Okay.
you're looking at the map. And yeah, so it's been times where, well, they would consider as far as Louisiana go,
Mm.
you know, you get the cultures of Louisiana, you think of Louisiana. People in Louisiana typically would associate Shreveport with more Dallas than actually New Orleans because of how
Really?
far away they are and how close the proximity. It takes 2 hours to get to Dallas, 2.5 hours.
Wow,
to get to Dallas,
dude,
from
that's
my
actually not a far drive at all.
Yeah.
Like that's very, very doable.
That's going from here to Orange County.
Did you ever think about moving from Shreveport to Dallas, considering the proximity, or you were like, I always wanted to come out there?
No, well, because like I said last week, I knew, like, you spend so much time going places. Like, it's a 2-hour drive. Like, my aunt stayed in Dallas, and I had an aunt that stayed in Houston. You spend enough time in it, and I just Texas was never like, it was cool to go there and take a day trip.
So let me ask you guys, like, just like you asked me, what was like the time where you were like, okay, I'm going to pack up all my stuff and move to like one of the most expensive cities in America? Like, what made that decision?
And that's crazy. Like, I talk about it so much. For me, it was one of those things. It's like, I knew within 5 years of like graduating my undergrad that I was gonna move to LA because this is where I wanted to be. This is everything that I wanted to do. I'm doing, and everything I wanted out of life is here.
Yeah.
So I knew within, like, after I finished my undergrad, I knew within 5 years that I was gonna go. However, it came a little bit earlier because I got offered a tuition and scholarship and all that madness to go to school here for film and acting, and so I took it. And that's when the opportunity came. I was like, well, yep, I was gonna be 5 years. 5 years is gonna turn into 6 months. Well, 3 months. So yeah.
I'm interested to. Well, to answer your question, I went to the University of Cape Town, got my BA in political sciences and dramatic arts, and then I got accepted to their law school, and then like some months before I was supposed to start at the law school, I decided I wanted to pursue my passion of acting because I come from a theater background, did theater throughout high school, uh, you know, did theater in primary school. So, drops mic.
Quite literally, I had to drop it for you.
So, it was like I always wanted to go into acting, and so once I got to the position where I was like, okay, I was done with my BA, I said to my dad, I was like, look, I really want to go to the New York Film Academy, and I auditioned and I got a scholarship, and I was like, look, they're gonna be paying part of the fees, and I get to go to LA, a city I've always dreamed of going to, so why not just go? You know what I mean?
And
yeah, and I'm interested to find out because obviously we wanna find out more about you. What was it like growing up in Texas, and how did that influence you in terms of your journey of coming to LA, like your passion for acting? Like, how did that kind of just get cultivated?
Absolutely. So, like, some of the bigger cultural differences that I'll find between Texas and California, for an example, are completely within the values. So, you hear about Texas hospitality like all the time, and you might not hear about their work ethic, but being in Texas means like your life isn't worth living unless you're working hard, which is terrible sometimes. But it's like, okay, that's just what is instilled in you. And the Texas hospitality of kind of being raised like a Southern gentleman, holding open doors, saying yes sir, no ma'am. But for a fact, if you say yes sir, no ma'am in LA, people get upset at you because they're like, what do you call me, old?
Yeah, you misgendering me?
Yeah, like, oh, well, relax. I just held open a door and I tried to show you some respect.
That part, but the whole, are you misgendering me?
Oh yeah. So I always grew up kind of like a decent hard worker, but then I was in a middle school play in my middle school, and it's like T.A. Howard, and like it was just some dumb Aladdin spin-off. It wasn't even the original script, but I was like, I remember auditioning for Aladdin because you had to for the class, right?
Yeah.
And they made me a villain, and they didn't call it Jafar, like how it was Jafar. They called it El Slippo Magician. And they put like a mustache on me, and they're like, okay, we picked you because you're the only one that looks like you're having fun on stage. And I was like, okay, that resonates with me even now, because I'm like, artists, dancers, musicians, like anyone, when they're making anything and they're not having fun, you can tell within their music. You can tell within their performance. You can see, like, when people dance and they're busting out these crazy moves and they're smiling, it's because they're putting like their passion into it. So like I would have fun with that. People would be like, man, you need to do this in high school. Ended up doing it in high school. I'm like, okay, we'll do these competitions, one act plays, and they were just 40 minutes, and we would take it to competition every year. And that's the time of the year I feel like, okay, I'm doing this for fun, but I'm also getting serious about this. I'm putting some of my self-worth into what I'm doing. Like made it to senior year, and I'm like, okay, heartbreaker of a year, and I can't go to college for acting. I can't really do that, right? Like my dad's in my ear. He's like, dude, you're almost gonna be like 19, then you'll be 30, and he's always living in the end. So like my dad being like African Muslim, he was like, okay, you got to be an engineer, that kind of like route. So what I ended up doing was I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start my degree in psychology, right?
Okay.
And I wanted to be a like criminal profile. I wanted to do forensic psychology.
Nice.
And why that kind of led me, because I believe in the law of attraction, and I believe that your soul will lead you to what your purpose is, even if you don't understand the indirect path. And I did that for a while, went to go see a play at Commerce, and I'm like, that's where I went to school, Texas A&M Commerce. And I was like, okay, I can do this and do this. And I figured out whenever I made my first character for a college production, I was like, okay, but now I have more understanding of the human psyche. I have more understanding of like what's going on with me and why people do things. And it only made my acting better, which only made me fall more in love with it. And then I was like, okay, I can still do something practical and still be in this field. So I got my degree in theater education, graduated with that. And even when I was student teaching at like Timberview High School is where I like taught at back in Texas, I realized, wow, I really do know what I'm talking about. I would see these students take bits and pieces of knowledge from me,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd say, wow, I've known this to myself, but I've never explained some of these concepts out loud.
Mm-hmm.
I just trusted that I knew it, and I'm like, okay, wow, cool. But then I'm seeing these kids on stage. I got kind of jealous because I'm like, oh, I remember when I was doing that. I was having fun. I don't want to forfeit that. Teaching is great and gratifying, but I'm like, okay. I met this dude named Tate, who's now my current like roommate,
Yeah.
and he was the only one in school because everyone being hardworking in Texas and everyone being practical.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're in a theater department, they're like, "You want to be an actor? You're fucking crazy. You're insane. You're not gonna make it." Like at all. Like nobody's believing.
Yeah.
And when I see someone else who's just as crazy as I am, I'm like, look, I don't need to know when it's going to be done. I don't need to know how far I'll go. I just need to know that it's possible, believe in myself, and I'll gravitate towards that. So we were talking earlier about how you genuinely gravitate to people who think on the same wavelength as you.
True.
And I felt like when you work hard, you'll gravitate to other people who also work hard.
Mm-hmm.
So we moved out here. Again, it's been 6 months, but I truly just believe that it's like my passion and love for doing something outweighed my want for financial security. Because that salary was kind of nice. I know people shit on teacher pay, but I was in a nice
Yeah, and I mean, I have a
Yeah.
huge respect for teachers.
I'm gonna
'cause,
be honest with you.
My
I'm gonna be honest.
grandparents, my mom's parents were both like teachers, so I have a huge respect for the profession, and I definitely feel teachers should get paid more. You know what I mean, especially public school teachers. I mean, it's just great to hear that you have that experience of, because teaching is giving back.
Oh yeah.
I think a lot of people don't really understand that it's for a society to function. The teachers who impart knowledge on the future generations have to be good at what they do. There's a
Absolutely.
lot of responsibility.
Absolutely.
you
I
guys.
felt, especially after COVID, that a lot of these students were just inside in their heads on TikTok, wasting their attention spans.
Yeah.
And you should have seen them on that first week when we came back. It's like everyone had this social anxiety. And I just thought about it as, I'm like, look, even if I'm just here for a year, I feel like it could be like my purpose from God to make sure that I give some of these kids a break, to give them a safe space from anything, because not all these kids enjoyed staying at home. Like not everyone has a good relationship with their parents.
Yeah,
Not
that's true.
everyone was in a healthy like living situation.
Yeah.
So for some people, COVID was a godsend. Oh, I can do nothing and feel awesome about it.
Yeah.
But then some of these kids are like, I miss my friends, I miss stimulation, I really
Yeah.
do miss school. So seeing them come back and be excited about doing something like theater, I'm like, oh man, this is great. Like, thank God I didn't teach math or something. Right?
Some
Like,
boring
yeah,
shit.
yeah, yeah.
No, if I was a teacher, I definitely would have to teach something fun. Like
I'ma be
I'm
honest.
a huge history and like geography person, so that's something I could teach. You know what I mean?
So my friend, he just got his certificate to teach, and congratulations, homie. You're probably watching. And I do commend him. Like it's really dope that you step out of your way to like help kids and stuff. For me, it was one of those things. Like I'm always, and that was something I was gonna comment on is I admire the fact that she said I'm gonna put my art before my like financial stability to get to where I want to go. And it's just something that I still battle with today, because it's like I want to do my art part, but it's still that part of nigga tired of being broke, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Like, bro, it's
yeah.
like,
Oh yeah.
and so for me, it's like always, I'm gonna do my art, but I also have to figure out how I'm gonna balance this. I got to figure out ways to get more like financially where I want to be, and that's kind of my biggest dilemma even today. It's like half art, half like, all right, cool, we gotta grind also in this
yeah.
area too, and
So
that's my biggest fear.
Yeah, facts. The only thing more difficult than being an artist is a starving artist, bro.
yeah, and it's on the starving. But I
Yeah.
will say, hearing that, like, completely agree. You have to have a balance between like the work and the passion. And is it like sliding again? Doesn't want to drop the mic for me. But it's like, and I guess that's where the goal is to where you're making art and making money at the same time. But the biggest advice I can give there is just make sure whenever you're making a choice that you're not leading through fear, you're leading with love.
Right.
Like whether that's love for yourself, love for your mental, love for what you're doing, because sometimes that can look like a lot of different things. It's like, okay, I want to be about my money, but I also want to move through love and not fear. Like, let me not do something that I'm going to be completely unhappy in just because I need to like pay rent. Instead, let me look at my habits out of self-love. Let me look at who I'm around. Let me look at how much I'm actually doing with my day to get where I want to be. Like, for an example, like, am I, submitting for everything on casting sites every day? Am I continuing a relationship with my manager? Am I constantly like working on my acting craft? Even if I'm not working, am I like studying a book? Am I like, doing self-tapes? And you'll find that when you lead through love and you lead through the consistency of your thoughts about doing what you want to do, you just end up
Right.
right where you want to be. So
Right,
just
right.
make sure you just never move afraid at all.
That's something that I'm like, for me right now. I find myself, even that's something I was having a conversation with someone last night. It's like, right now in my life, I know where I want to go, and I am dead set on getting to where I want to go. It's not I hope I get there. It's, I'm going to get there. Like, I've changed my mindset completely of wishing and hoping. This is what I'm going to do
It's a
by
weak
such and such.
energy, yeah.
And that I totally believe in it. I put that stuff in the world. This is where I'm going to be. This is what I'm going to do. And so for me now, where I move, it's more towards how does it feel. And I keep like, for me, I feel like God will always put me in a place like where I want to go, and like gonna line me up to where I need to like keep that same rate. And for me, I just feel like you put stuff in the world and then you go towards that something, and you can't fail. Kind of the, get your gauge your chops. What type of actor are you? What you say? What you say? You moment to moment, or like method, or kind of what are you?
Moment to moment. Okay. So I come from a Meisner background, which Meisner, his
That's what we were taught in.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
like what
So his philosophy is act truthfully under imaginary circumstances. Which the way I interpret that is, because back in the day, when I made a character, I used to like completely, I got to be a different, complete person. Of course, I got to move a different way, sound a different way. But here's what makes a different person. Here's where I was making it too complicated, is that you, specifically like you, are the most interesting thing that ever exists, because no one sits like you. No one talks like you. You go through all this effort to completely be a different person. For what? Because what makes a different person is the circumstances. So like Meisner says, like, okay, act truthfully as you would under these circumstances. Like, say you like you never had like 80 cousins and had to like starve or whatever. But if you were you in that circumstance, you'd already be different.
Right.
You'd be carrying different facial expressions, different tones, different body postures, different motivations. So I would say it's a basis of Meisner, but I'm also going to go ahead and be cocky and say that I have my own specific method that really only makes sense with me. I call it breathe life and play.
All right. So you
Breathe
get
life
you
and
get your
play.
sides.
Yeah.
Explain that. Like, breathe life and play.
Breathe life and play.
Yeah.
So when I think about, like I told you back in like middle school, people are like, he looks like he has the most fun. That's why we chose him for this. So when you breathe life, quite literally not being tensed up, are you breathing? You are, I'm here. I am present. I am breathing life. This is the moment right now. No matter what someone throws at me in a scene, whether or not I'm expecting it or I'm not expecting it, I actually prefer that I don't expect it, because it's like life. I'm like, okay. Because when you breathe deeply, what does that do? It relieves anxiety because it brings you to the present. And then once I'm here in this moment, connected with the thread of another actor, I'm like, okay, now it's play.
Yeah.
Now here comes the point where I don't care about who's watching. Care about whether or not someone thinks I'm a good actor or a bad actor. I'm like, let me have fun with this. Like, I just did this short film called Consider with Reservations. And even if it's a sad scene, you can still have fun and play. There's a scene where my sister's terminally ill, and you don't see her the whole movie, and I'm worried about my own problems because my problems never outweigh the family problems. And all of a sudden, I come in a chipper mood. My parents are in the kitchen. It's slow. It's quiet. There's no dialogue. And I walk in, and all she does is slides me the paper that says, "We can't afford your little sister's surgery. She's going to die." And the entire scene is just me and my reaction to like reading this thing. And she has done this so many different ways. Some where she cries, some where she looks at the dad and then looks back at me in disappointment, or just like completely bawls. But the times that she made a big choice and just gave me something to impact on, I'm like, who cares if I think, oh, this is realistic? this is how I feel honestly right now. I'm gonna play like, Mom, you're crying, I'm crying, like Dad, I fucking hate you because you're not even like looking at me right now. Like, this wasn't things that the director says, because the director has a vision, but the director also is in a mood to find out.
Exactly.
And
Right.
you have to not be afraid of that finding out
I
moment.
always
So,
say that to people. As an actor, it's definitely incumbent upon you to make those choices and to make different choices. You know, because there'll always be directors who, you know, will say, "Hi, and this, you know, in this next shot, in this next scene, I want you to try something different. We're gonna do this again." Da, da, da. And then the directors who kind of just expect you to give them something different every time, so that the editor has, you know, stuff
That's-
to work with.
That's called
You know?
that's called organic versus dictatorial. So
Mhm.
there's like a spectrum of
Exactly,
directors.
you know.
And,
And it's interesting because I found that the directors who work the best are the ones who've had acting experience. Like even in Hollywood, the directors who either started off as actors or did acting workshops, they're the ones who like have a keen understanding and a keen sense of what actors are. Then you get the ones like Quentin Tarantino who've just never necessarily studied acting or anything, but they just understand the actors and what they want to bring out of the
I
character.
think his thing
straight
is
up.
he understands. He's so inept in story. Like that's Quentin's thing. He's like a very huge story guy.
Exactly.
He understands how the story should go. And
Yes.
he let the actors do what they're gonna do, but he
Yeah.
keeps. This is the story. He looks
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
things from a story standpoint.
Thematic.
That's why he's a stickler for dialogue. He wants you
Oh,
to land the dialogue as he's written.
And
Right.
I think he's pretty frugal with his like
Yeah.
actors when it like comes to like, hey, this could be said a billion different ways. These are just people talking. 'Cause he's a
Yeah.
good writer too.
Yeah.
But something about Quentin Tarantino that excites me is that like there's this there's an artist quote that goes, in order to be your full-fledged artist, you have to let go of the fear of being wrong. And his movies, if you compare them to other people's movies, it's unorthodox as fuck. Like you'll see
Most
the
definitely.
like you see the blood he uses, right? That
Yeah.
damn near looks like Kool-Aid splurred now,
Yeah.
but it doesn't take away from it. But it's like, that's just to say that you as a person, as a creative, you could be a genius. You could bring something new to the table, but if you're too afraid to show it to other people, no one's gonna tell you that you're a genius. So like you gotta have that idea of, okay, this could go completely wrong, but this is new and this hasn't been done before. This could be freaking good.
Facts. Speaking of, I guess famous people, directors, people in the industry, are there 5 people, or who are the 5 people, be it famous or not, who you would say have influenced your career, or who you model yourself after, or people who you just like, you know what, I want their level of success or their humor, their funniness, their charisma, whatever.
Five.
Or who would you say that the 5 people for you that made you basically you, or inspired you to do what you do in any whether it be acting or just living and going about your business?
Okay, so I have to really think about this. So let me hit the famous people first.
Yeah.
I'd say obvious, like number 1 is Denzel Washington.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because
okay.
what he
Alright,
did
alright,
is
alright.
he creates, because like growing up, like when you're in a theater department, you're a black guy, like you are the only African American typically in there, surrounded by, you know, like there's diversity like LGBTQ community, but you're mostly in there with some white people. And so like when you say just recently, like he did Macbeth, he did Shakespeare, so it's
Yeah.
just like, okay,
I
it
still
i-
haven't watched that, by the way. I gotta watch it.
so
we
good,
saw
so
Macbeth,
good.
yeah.
Yeah, man, he kills it. And like his diction, his education, his intelligence, and his artistry in this form that could be considered like, you know, by his parents even. I have no idea how his parents felt about him wanting to be an actor, but it's like, okay, it is not only okay for a black man to be in this field, we can thrive in here. So that's he gave me that inspiration to be like, okay, no matter what anyone says to me, screw it.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Shout out Denzel.
There's Christoph Waltz who has been in a
Yo.
lot of Quentin Tarantino movies. Like him, in the shape of what I do is I love linguistics. I love doing accents, and I see the way that he'll move differently every time he does a different accent or a dialect. So for an example, like right after I like watched a movie, I start talking like some of the New Yorkers, and yeah, you know, it might be in your face. And I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, you stupid schmuck bastard. But like just
Stupid schmuck bastard.
but then it's like, as soon as I see that I master a linguistic property of something, the character comes easy.
Yeah.
So it's like him for what I deemed important in acting, not just my body and my voice, but how I can manipulate the two.
I like that. I like that. Hell yeah. Yeah.
The 5 is a big number.
It is.
Yeah,
it is
yeah,
indeed. Yeah, it is.
And just you asked about people who influenced who
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah. People who they may not even have to be famous. You know,
Yeah.
other three
could be your
maybe.
mom if you
So
Right,
no,
right,
no,
right.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that a lot of the way that I think, a lot of the I guess out of the box way of thinking that I do comes from some of the people I grew up with in the mosque. Like like I'm not the best Muslim around. Like I'm not gonna say I'm like perfect, but I will say that treating people with a decent human kindness and decency, and being around people like that. I'm gonna go to my mom and dad for a second, because that'll be like 2 people right there, right? A little personal information is that like my dad has like this chronic depression, and like my mom is bipolar type B, and my oldest brother is schizophrenic. So when you see that combination, and I'm the middle child of 5 kids.
Yeah.
So growing up in that position, I constantly was playing peacemaker mediator. I was always explaining other people's emotions to each other. I'm like, hey, mom, he didn't mean this. He only said this because he feels unappreciated about this. Or, hey, mom, dad didn't really mean this. Like, he's just like fed up with nobody approaching him with anything other than money issues.
I
like,
feel you.
Yeah,
I feel you. No,
yeah.
it's the same thing in my family as well. My older brother is actually like also bipolar and like suffered from depression. So exactly what you're saying, dude. I had to be that dude for years, saying to my parents like he didn't mean this, saying this was
what
just,
that teaches you.
Same thing with my mom as well. My mom also says so. It's a wild thing. Like I've got a history in my family of that kind of thing, which kind of makes me afraid. But it's like I feel like that experience of
it's like teaching in the sense that like you don't look at people like problems. You don't look at people like students.
Yes.
You give them the same amount of patience, and in turn, what happens for you spiritually when you're in that predicament is that you have more patience with yourself. You're like, okay, I am not like being bothered emotionally by someone who just says words at me, because I know for a fact it has more to do with them than me. So whenever I went into my career as a teacher, I'm like, this helps. I'm not getting fed up with these students just because they're not falling in line like really easily. I'm like, okay, you're a person first, a student second. You're a person first, coworker second. You're a person first, and then blah blah blah. And when you have that idea with people, there's like just this feeling of just feeling unbothered and calm. Like I'll be on set, for an example, and how this impacts my acting is that I could never have spoken to anybody ever. But giving them the benefit of like, you're a person, you go through struggles, you get anxious, you have all these things. There's no reason for me to ever feel afraid of your opinion, ever. So let's just like work together. So I don't know if that was 5 people, but that's
no, it works. It works.
No,
I definitely feel it.
Yeah.
And I definitely admire the fact that like how you molded, like how all those people molded you into the being the chameleon that you are. I like to think of when I think of how I am able to interact with different groups, I like to think of myself like taking a role of my dad. I'm either playing my dad or my mom. My mom is like this she's not very like social, but she can be social. But she's more high energy and like more like, happy and bubbly or whatever. My dad, he's more lower energy, but he's like super social. He can like connect with any group or anywhere, and I like kind of feel like I channel that a lot when I'm talking to people, because he has this saying, he's like, I can sit in the room with the devil and have a conversation. And it's so funny because just like him, I feel like I can have a conversation with the craziest people and just be like chilling. And I always feel like anytime I go into a situation, I'm like, all right, how will my dad handle this situation? So it's kind of cool.
Isn't that kind of like crazy, like how different people in different circumstances will show like different parts of themselves?
Yeah.
Like maybe like when you're around your family, maybe it's like a little bit more reserved, and like there's a lot that we don't need to say because we understand. But then like you're around your like crackheaded best friend or something, and then you'll start thinking differently, so speaking differently.
Whole different thing. I have to run to the restroom real quick.
You have to what?
Yeah, restroom.
All right, cool. He's gonna take a
short 5.
So while M is going into the he's gonna take a little pee pee
in the lab. When you go in the lab.
All right. So we're gonna jump right into we're gonna skip We're gonna skip that one. Then we're gonna go back to it after this one. All right. So this segment is gonna be called This or That. And in this segment, basically, I'm gonna give you a choice, one A or B, and you have to choose one. It's no both or you gotta choose one or the other.
All right.
And so yeah, you ready?
All right, let's do it.
Cool. Stage or screen?
Ooh, screen.
Screen. Bet. TV or movies?
Movies.
Comedy or dramas?
Drama.
Why drama?
Drama is that it's an excuse to get into like some really fucked up situations and have it all be pretend. Like,
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever like in your life wanted to get in a screaming match with somebody, but you're like, oh, I don't want the repercussions that come with that. You can do that in a scene and then be like, yeah, okay, that was just pretend. Yeah, it did happen. It's okay.
All right.
It's fun.
DC or Marvel?
DC Comics. I can't say this or that. I want DC in its entirety for like in its comics and its animation series, not the movies. Yeah.
Yeah, not their movies.
Yeah.
I'm the same. Like I feel like DC has way better heroes.
My favorite hero is the Flash.
My favorite hero is Superman.
Yeah.
Did we just become best friends?
In DC?
All right. But yeah, I feel like Marvel, they have been, and I feel like I have a whole theory that DC is trying to catch up to Marvel, but they're not because Marvel has such a long head start. I feel like the best thing DC could do for themselves is not try to chase Marvel, but simply put all their heroes in one movie.
Standalones?
No, like just in one. Instead of trying to chase them and build them all up, start them off as the Justice League.
Also, for me, it's like DC keeps making like mid or like shitty
I
ass
feel like
shows or
thing,
films.
I feel like
dude.
also
Zack Snyder's Justice League, I was not interested at all. Like
I feel like they
all
should have
these
more
little
people
shows
that
have.
Look. I feel like to fix DC, right? This is what they should do. They should have one movie, like one Justice League movie. Like they can throw everything that happened out away, and just have one Justice League movie. Then they can have their branch off movies from that one Justice League movie. But they should have one creative director of DC, just like Kevin Feige is the one director. He makes sure everything stays intact. One director or one producer that
one
looks
mind,
over.
one idea.
Yeah, and this is what we're gonna do. Also, they should hire actors that actually want to be there. I feel like most of their comics are just one off, so we're not here for a long time. They have people that actually want to make the commitment to be there and actually want to be there. Like, what's his name? Ben Affleck. He didn't really want to be Batman.
I'm like Gal Gadot is a terrible actress, dude.
She's so fine though.
She's not the best Wonder Woman. They could have definitely done better with Wonder Woman. I feel like they could have. And I'm like, there's so many good characters in DC. Even like Green Lantern, I'm like, that needs to be explored more, dude. Because it's not just the Green Lantern core. There's so many other cores, and they can really expand that, and people would love that. You know, all the different color rings, and it's like, dude, like
I feel like if they branched off and they established them as a team first, and then instead of trying to establish trying to catch up to Marvel, you're not gonna catch
at this point, it's late.
And then I feel like the problem with DC is they don't have any consistency, and it doesn't seem like the actors like a lot. Henry Cavill, I feel like wants to be there. The Flash dude, I feel like even though he had his shit in Hawaii, I feel
Ezra Miller,
Ezra Miller,
he's always fighting niggas,
beating on women, bro. Like what the fuck?
He threw a chair on a woman.
Hey, I'll take his role in a Flash. I'll be right there.
Be Wally.
Yeah, dude, I'd be Wally.
See what you did there.
Wally, you know what I mean? That would be a dream role for sure. See myself in super speed. That shit would be crazy.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. So Ezra, keep it up, bro. Keep
it up, Ezra. We love you. We love you, Ezra.
You ready? Yeah. New York or LA?
LA.
Gotcha.
Yeah, LA for sure.
Flying or driving?
Driving.
Road trip or like flying?
Oh, road trip, because depending on where you're driving, man, there's so much to look at.
I
there's
said
so
the
many
same thing. They like flying.
This might be head ass, but part of the journey is the journey. It's not just the destination. It's the act of getting there.
I ain't gonna lie though, fam. You got about 5 hours with me, and then I'm like over this driving stuff.
Oh yeah.
When I was younger, I used to love traveling on planes, dude. Like I was like, oh, we're gonna go fly somewhere. As I've gotten older, it's just become a whole thing of okay, cool, just get on the plane.
You know,
driving is definitely where it's at, especially the road trip.
If you have things to look at, but like if you like Texas, for an example, is huge. You're seeing the same cows and the same pastures and the same shit like over and over and over. But if you drive up in like Colorado, Oregon,
Mhm.
Washington, those kind of states, you're like, oh man, there's mountains.
Like the Pacific Coastal Road,
Oh, yeah.
whatever it's called.
PCA?
Yeah.
PCA,
Yeah. Like that shit's crazy, dude. Like just driving. I've never done it, but just seeing the imagery and like I really want to. I want to just get like a hippie van. and just-
I'd be chill.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, smoke a couple blunts.
Hell yeah, bro. I'll be smoking every day. Highway patrol gonna be trying to track me down. Sir, are you cooking in your car? No, it's just my badass blunt.
He's like, I
lit.
swear to high, I'm not God.
Yeah, for real.
Alright.
90s R&B or 2000s hip hop.
Ooh, fuck, man. Oh, damn. I'm gonna say 2000 hip hop, man. Maybe. Oh yeah. That one's a tough one.
That's
All
tough.
right.
That is tough.
All right, I got this one. Be the last man on Earth or be stuck in a zombie apocalypse.
But I have other niggas with me.
Yeah.
So last man being like, there's still
But you got to deal with other people too. You're not the only people. But y'all in a zombie apocalypse. It's kind of like The Walking Dead, basically.
I'll do the zombie apocalypse.
I can vibe by myself. I'll be the last man on earth.
Yeah,
I'd be okay with that. It'd be like purgatory, you know what I'm saying?
No
Like,
snow bunnies?
hey, bro.
That's
Hey, I
crazy.
can focus on my spiritual shit. You know what I mean? These hoes be like,
Don't get
Look,
distracted.
Look, I know I said you can't. You got to choose one or the other. But I'll just take me out of either one.
Damn,
Both
bro.
of them look depressing.
oh yeah.
Take me out when it begins. Like, take me out. Take me. As a matter of fact, I volunteer as tribute. Bah, you're not gonna get me.
Oh
But
my God.
I do feel like it'll be more peaceful being by yourself. Although
You know, I Am Legend. Everything was going okay until he ran into a woman. So
yeah.
That's actually a good point. Then shit
He
started
said
to
he's
fall
fucking
apart.
And she was white, so.
He said, objection?
All right. Last one. Ready?
Yeah.
Stand up or freestyle?
Man, for me, that one's easy because it's like freestyle. I've done that with like a group of people. It's been really fun. I've done stand up in front of one group of people, got laughs, but was heckled by drunk people the entire time. So yeah, I have a really strong bias there. You know what I mean?
All right.
It's
All
just-
right. Kick a freestyle right now.
I'm gonna need a beat, man.
You need a beat? Damn.
Yeah. I mean, I could go a cappella, but like I love.
Wait 1 second. I don't know. Let's see if it's gonna
Let's see if this
If this even like opens up.
yeah.
Yeah. Y'all got any sponsors you shout out in the middle of like transitions like this?
We had a sponsor, but then I just stopped sponsoring.
All right, so can't just drop like a fucking like brand name real quick.
Shout out Black by Cam though. For
Some friend stuff real quick.
let's see what we got.
See what's happening.
Let's see if this works.
Can y'all hear it?
No.
It's paused right now. No. No, Sirski.
Dang. Even if it was something on like someone's phone. Like,
Damn.
it's like playing out loud of it.
Yeah.
What is this called?
Just it's just like a boom bap.
Vintage man beats.
Blast that shit.
Okay.
It's gonna drop. Hey, get my ad libs for me real quick. Yeah, get my ad libs for me real quick. Got the hair slicked back, yeah, it's real slick. I'm Tom Brady, yeah, I'm like the top pick. I don't care about you or your top bitch. Let me just switch it on like real fast.
Yeah.
On the money, 120 on the fill dash.
Get it.
Fill the gas, smoke it till I never pass. Yeah, I'm out here, LA, I always lash. And we chilling in the crib like no ho. Where the hoes at? Yeah, like no hoes. Yeah, I'm chilling on the podcast. They asked me to spit like a real fast rap. I ain't speaking these lies, no cap. Where on the hap? I don't care, man. I'm really on the nap. Really on the map. I really just mean I'm Mr. Clean. Yeah, I got a Mr. Mean. I defeat her. Pull up with the heater. Got me a Tommy, man. I got me the cheater. Oh, hold on. Let me slow down. Rolling on the wrist, so I know I bust down. Hey, got the crew, so you know we trust now.
Yeah.
Hey, give me a word. Give me like something.
I'm gonna catch you out right
Yeah,
there.
please.
Fuck with you. But we fuck. I'm gonna let you go ahead and go right
Beep,
there.
beep, 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 beep. That's that heat. That's that heat.
Yeah,
Charlie Sloth, BBC One, Broken Glass. That's that shit right there.
All right, how y'all feeling? You feeling good?
I'm feeling
good.
good.
Can y'all still hear?
Yeah. I'm glad I
Gotcha.
didn't entirely fuck that up.
No, I was fucking with it, bro. Hey, you know what I'm saying? You're dropping them gems on us, man.
Mad jams, yeah.
Mad jam.
If you dropped like a UK drill shit, I would have been trying to do that impersonation.
Yeah, dude.
Ting, mat. Yeah, I love those ad-libs.
Yeah, shit.
What's the dude name? Rain? Is his name Rain or something? He's like UK. I forgot his name. It's like I don't know.
On the UK drill scene?
No, he's like Rain or Snow. I don't know what his dude name. He was like a friend of mine put me onto him, but I forgot his name. Pretty dope. He's from the UK. It's like UK dope rapper.
UK the rapper is his name?
No, UK has rappers.
Oh yeah.
Like that's the thing.
Rapper.
It's crazy because they have like they're rapping, but they're rapping in the UK accent.
Yeah, I'm a rapper.
Hilarious.
Yeah. It bugs me, man. Like because there's some people who truly think rap isn't music. And like when you
Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, he was the nigga that said that shit, right? Like when you see the different ways people can like manipulate their voices and like word plays, and I'm like, not anyone could just say this shit.
You know what's funny? Like, so he brought up the Ben Shapiro. Like, so Ben Shapiro had his whole definition of what music was, and then I seen a video. It's about it literally broke down all the components of what he says not music and how they're all music compared to his definition, and how his definition didn't even classify with actual definition.
Yeah, I remember watching that video as well, and I'm like, this is the problem. People just speak on shit they don't even know, bro.
Exactly.
Like they start bringing in their own definitions, and their own
God.
ideas. Like, dude, don't matter what you think. What's the fact? What's the
You-
hard
man,
view on this?
You can
You know?
always.
I feel like that part of that problem is I feel like we give a lot of opinions to people. Like we give opinion, we let everybody. I get it. Y'all gonna get me. I get it. Free speech, whatever. But we give a lot of credit to a lot of people in their opinions.
Yeah.
We like make everybody think their opinions matter.
Exactly.
Some of
No,
these people need to realize your opinion don't matter.
Yeah, like that's a hot ass take, like for real. Like a lot of people when they if you listen to the stuff that they speak about, it's quite literally like it's brainwashing because it's like, okay, when you're around, you know what I'm talking about, the specific brand of people who only talk about what they see on social media, what they see on the news.
Right.
I'm like, look, do you really care about this, or is this what it's being broadcasted to? Is this what your mind is picking up? Because I'm like, look, you're preaching, like there's people I run into set that like constantly talk about Ukraine. And I'm like, you know, sometimes I want to like press them a little bit and be like, look, you care about this issue of like a country occupying another. I've never heard you speak about Palestine once. I've never heard you. And like, if you notice, that wasn't on the news media a whole lot. The only reason people know anything about Palestine is because people who actually think for themselves go on the news.
Or they know people that's from Palestine.
Yeah. And
like
it's
hearing
crazy
that out.
because there was a the Al Jazeera journalist got killed the other day by Israeli security forces, and it's like, hold on, I thought murdering journalists was a war crime.
It is a war
I thought
crime.
that's like actually
But
like a
we're not-
war crime.
And you know where we like pass that limit is because Israel is our allies. Yeah, 100%. So it's like, why would, like we say the country can't control the media, but you do. If it doesn't fit your narrative,
Right.
if it doesn't fit like what you're speaking about, we're not going to show that to the people.
Yeah.
We're going to let them think everything's okay, or we're going to make them fear something to distract them from things not being okay.
That's true.
I feel that.
Yeah.
Like that sums it up like completely. Like what in the U.S. is what's going on is because one of the things I find interesting about it is you hear all these war crimes in the Ukraine, like you mentioned, but I have a friend who actually stays in that like whole. I forgot what country it is, but it's like Palestine, Jerusalem, and all those like different countries that are warring with each other, right? He stays there and they're like, well, y'all saying this is a war crime, but I just seen a bomb go off like.
Yeah, like
not even close to my house. It's like, well,
It's the media really is very, very powerful.
Oh yeah, it literally just controls
very, very
everything.
powerful. Because,
Speaking of the
you know,
speaking of the media, next segment.
Oh yeah.
All right. M had to use the restroom, couldn't hold his bladder. But in this segment, it's called the Culture Clown Snooze Update. And basically, what this segment is our reaction to top news topics that are going on in the world. And you want to break down what today's topic is?
My boy Captain Jack Sparrow won his case.
Yeah. Shout
Johnny
out
Depp
Johnny
wins
Depp.
his defamation case against Amber Heard. That crazy. Now you know I love me a snow bunny, but Amber Heard, danger
Wilding out
music.
on the podcast.
She's one of those dangerous snow bunnies, just dangerous women in general who you have to be very, very careful of. And I'm happy for my boy Johnny. We all knew he was innocent. We all knew he didn't do anything.
I was mad when they
And
said, "Oh, she won $2 million." Like,
I'm just mad that like Disney and whoever else it was fired him. Before all the information had come out, they fired him immediately, and now it's like he's been vindicated. You know what I mean? That's why he's never gonna do another Pirates of the Caribbean again, because he thought y'all were gonna rock with him. Through thick and thin, for him to prove his innocence, and you didn't do that, Disney. So you gotta take your L.
It's a business, so they like they don't care what the truth is. They just want to care about how like things are perceived. 100%. Johnny, man.
What's your thoughts on the whole?
My thoughts.
Do you have any?
Amber Heard.
Well, before I say anything on it, is I have not seen the complete trial. I've not so like anything I said is like obviously biased. So like take that with a grain of salt. But from what I have seen is Amber Heard reminds me of someone I used to like date where dude, like I'm telling you, she was also she was also an actress that I was dating. I dated an actor, so maybe it's just this kind of thing where it's like this pathological lying, this comfortability with lying. And you know what that looks like. Like when you are talking to someone but you're saying it for other people. Like she dead ass quoted something from a movie she was in. Like there was a line, she just replaced the main character's name with Johnny's name, and someone like had the script right up to because there's somebody documenting everything that goes on in the court case right next to what she was saying, and it was something along the lines of, oh, when he likes you, you just feel like the only girl in the world, and when he doesn't, it's like blah blah, blah. It's so dramatic, right? And I'm like, look, like anytime the camera would be on her or off of her, completely depended on what she was doing. She was doing everything for photo ops. And here's the thing is what we talk about toxic masculinity a lot. And I know this is like a meme, but like talking about toxic femininity is a thing, because something about women is that they aren't mentally weak. They know where they have an up on you. Because if someone knows, and I'm not saying like, hey, don't believe actual victims who are women. Like
that's something. Hold on. Let me say this. I believe that whole believe all women. It only goes so far.
Yeah.
Because
there's a limit.
And I believe like the whole there's a certain point where the victim is not the victim. Like
it's dangerous because we should be relying on facts. Like now in this whole situation, when the whole Amber Heard Johnny Depp thing popped off, people were like, believe Amber Heard.
Everyone canceled. Nobody was rocking with Johnny Depp at all. And it like hurt me. He used to be one of my favorite actors, and there's a time where I kind of boycotted him a little bit. I'm gonna be honest.
You know what I mean?
Because like the thing is, when you are in a position where like a who's gonna believe you kind of thing, that like more people are gonna believe me, you're going to exercise that power. It's like manipulation, quite honestly. Like I can get away with doing this, but if you do anything, like this will be like the end of you. So my opinion on it at all is like this. I hope that they both move on. I like Elon Musk said that they're both wonderful people at their best. I don't believe that.
Elon himself.
That nigga kind of kooky. But Johnny, what I want him to be able to do is do the same thing, because we have the same love for something, and it's acting. He used to like, practice characters with his daughter, doing dolls and voices, and that I'm like, dude, you're incorporating this into your family. That's how much you really. And to not only take away the credibility of a man, take away his love and his passion from life from a man is just as evil.
It's tough. Dude.
So he sued for $50 million.
Yeah, for 15 mil.
But 50, right?
50?
50.
Ah, shit.
But he only got
15,
but subtract from that, he only getting 13 because she getting $2 million.
Yeah.
For
she countersued it for $100 million.
Yeah.
dude. How
But
the
she's
fuck
only
is
getting-
Austin
It's a
Hummer?
whole thing, bro. I'm
It's like
like,
when I heard the verdict, it's basically they both won, but she basically lost.
But the thing is with the whole Depp thing where they were like the defamation thing, whatever, against Amber Heard or whatever the fuck it was the whole thing of it wasn't him that lied, it was his lawyer.
Right.
His lawyer had said something that wasn't true. It wasn't actually Johnny, and so that's why there's a portion of the money that is being given to Amber Heard. But Johnny himself was never actually like the person who said shit. Like it actually wasn't him. It was the lawyer.
For you,
Yeah.
and this is kind of I'm gonna open this up both of you. How now we're young things going around this Hollywood doing this Hollywood thing. How are you prepped and ready for those situations? Because we know that's gonna happen.
Man, I'm be honest with you. Like through my experience with just women in my life, I have learned a few things, and one of those things is I know exactly what I want from the character of a person right away. Like I'll admit to myself that like anyone I get involved with now, it's not like we're like young things in Hollywood, but I'm not. I've learned that I do not care for all this like party and cheap, like, cause I've had a good woman before.
Exactly.
Like when you have a good woman, at least once in your life, you're like, okay, everything else really is a distraction. Cause I know if I have someone who's emotionally insecure, doesn't communicate, and just cares about other people's perception of them, I already know that they're gonna be blowing up my phone, taking away from what I'm doing right now. And I'm like, for what? It's for some extra ass, some extra coochie, like here and there. Like, I'm I feel like the self-control to be like, okay. But that being said, now that I know what like a bad woman looks like, I look at someone who is about their goals, who speaks the truth, does their best to be kind and honest. And I'm like, look, I know humans aren't perfect. She's going to have her flaws regardless, just like I'm going to have mine. And good relationships are built and not found. But I know exactly now when I am going to waste my time with somebody, like right from the get-go. So I think I'll be prepped for those situations by not even getting in them.
Is it weird?
Yeah, the thing is, it's interesting because you never really expect to have to deal with like
that's the thing,
trifling females who take a shit in your bed.
I've
like
been preparing mentally, like I don't know what it is.
TMZ got Jay with the video, just like
there's nothing that can prepare you for waking up and there's a shit right next to you in your bed, like
that's
a big fat
here's the
fudge
thing,
dragon just chilling
even
right
from
there.
Even from a young age, my aunt, I love her to death. She's like, you gotta watch these damn people out here, cause you gotta watch everything. And it was like on some, you make sure you always like you bring your own rubbers. Like even at 8, bring your own rubbers. Watch the company you keep. Like I've been, and then you just. So here's the thing. I've always been the oldest everything. So everything above me, it was older adults, and just hearing and talking to those older adults, you peep game on a lot of stuff. So I feel like I know what's out there, and I won't say I'm not invulnerable to what could happen, but living through life and then living, like you said, seeing the distractions firsthand. I feel like I'm more privy to now. Okay, when that situation comes, I know how to discern, like use discernment on, like and read people's energy and read, like I could see like where a situation is gonna go before it happens.
It's more about acting preventatively than fixing stuff as you fuck up.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Like I just, because for me, first thing I do is I read energy and I read like I don't know this person.
Like, what's their intention? Like, what
and if I don't trust it, I immediately go away. Like, I either draw away from it or I like, don't give it much energy. What about you? What are you gonna do? How you feel about it?
I mean, like, I'm just ready. And you gotta be in a position where you understand your value and your worth. Amber Heard is a pretty face, but mentally she's not in a good place. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And you gotta, those are the broads you gotta be careful of, man, because they know that they can use their beauty to their advantage. They don't have to necessarily be nice people or whatever, be honest and truthful, but they know how they can get men. Especially being in this industry, and especially being in LA. Once you get to a certain level and you're in LA, you can have your pick of certain men or women, you know what I mean, depending on if you're a man or woman. They're always gonna be trifling individuals on both sides. So you definitely gotta watch out for that, man. Me, I know now I'm just trying to do my thing, bro. Read more, drink more water, exercise, focus on my shit. And if I meet a nice feminine woman who ain't on no bullshit, then it's all good, you know.
I'll
But
be
the
honest.
moment I start sensing some shit, I'm out, you know what I
That's-
mean?
And you know that's crazy. Like me and my homie, we had this conversation all the time. It's like we have like this running bet, so to speak, on who gonna get married first. And my thing is, it's like I am a lover boy, quote unquote. I do if I fall for somebody, somebody gets I get attracted to it. But I have enough discernment and understanding about myself to understand that one, what I'm trying to accomplish is more than just the novelties that people aspire to having, like the happy family and all that. What I'm looking for in life and need out of life, I'm almost certain that a relationship and like the happy family, that's not it. I'm not saying it's out of the picture, but it's not necessarily something that I'm focused on having.
I think that's something that should arise more naturally. I think because it's like if you treat it something like a family, that's not a trivial thing. That's like a lifelong
But here's
commitment.
the thing. I feel like I've thought about this, right? I get this. I think about this a lot, even to this day. My thing is, it's cool if that's what you want, but for what I want out of life, grand scheme of things, yeah, put it like this: there are icons in the world, but you don't necessarily think of those icons having. They're not, you know. And I'm perfectly fine with the ramifications of chasing what I'm chasing and not having that.
Yeah.
I've made up in my mind that if I don't get that, then I'm cool with that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Can I ask you something though?
What's up?
Like is something I realized, and I'm only 24 years of age, but just with that amount of time on Earth, I realized that even something as short as a year or 2 years or 5 years completely changes the way
Yeah,
that I see
I
the
know.
world and myself. So what do you think, like maybe, say like you're already settled in your career, you've met your old goals and you have new ones. Do you think maybe at like 40, 30, like late 30s?
Put it like this. I feel like I said, I don't. It's not out of the picture, but it's not
An aspiration.
It's not an aspiration for me because here's the thing. I have my goals that up until 40, where I have those goals, and then for me, I'm dead set. I made up in my mind recently that nothing is gonna stop me from getting to those things, and I realized that it's cool. Like, don't get me wrong. I get the whole you being with somebody, it completes you sometimes in a lot of ways. And don't get me wrong. I do have my fair share of like seeing people and talking to people, and I'm not completely closed to what could happen from that. I'm not completely closed off to saying, oh, it never happened. It would never happen. But I understand that to get to the level you want to get to, it's gonna take a lot of time and a lot of focus on where I'm trying to get to and then I'm 27. That's a short amount of time to do that. I need as high as peak of focus to get to that as I'm possibly gonna need.
Absolutely. I hear what you're saying. Absolutely, because I've seen just like with journaling, because like just writing down streams of consciousness every day, where my thoughts align and what I've been able to get done in that month. And I know for a fact, anytime, like forget about marriage for a second, anytime I'm super into a woman, like into a girl, and I'll see that, oh wow, all my journal entries from that last month have been about her.
Right.
I'm like, how much have I been thinking about like
And
my
that's the
goals
thing.
and
Like
stuff?
I'm journaling. I'm starting journaling now too. And even let's say for instance, I'm talking to somebody now, right? I'm talking to somebody, and I genuinely like this person. I do.
Right.
I really do like this person. But I'm always for me it's like one of those, if I'm with this person tomorrow, cool. If I'm not, at the end of the day, I don't place the priority for me, since what I'm trying to chase is so great and so in abundant. Like, it's what I'm trying to chase is not normal by any sense of the word. Like, a normal person would not get to where I'm trying to go. And a normal person don't have the tools or what they need to get to where I'm trying to go, and it's not in their realm of possibilities. But I realized recently I have everything I need to get there, but to get there, it's gonna take a lot, and you're gonna have to sacrifice a lot to do it.
So my mom, because I believe in everything you just said, and I think I've had this conversation with my mom. So Mama Hussein, she like Hoya is what I call her. It's mom in Somali. So Hoya, what she was saying to me is that okay, you don't need to stress about like not just having a woman at all, but the second you find someone who doesn't take away from your life and adds and is like a support and is a strength, that's when you don't.
I believe it. I believe that completely.
But it's so rare. So I'm like, Hoya, like, yeah, like So to your point, be about your stuff, be about your grind. Make sure your thoughts are aligning with what you want to do. And like you said, you're not closed off to the possibility. It's like, for me, it's like that toughness of doing it. It's like either my heart is completely open or my heart is completely closed. There's
way
no
I
like,
look at, I close it. I give you this point.
yeah.
The way I look at it is this: at this point in my life, you're either an asset or you're a distraction. I don't have any more time. Like I feel like I spent the last 3 years of my life on distractions, and it's pushed me so far behind. Now that I'm having to play catch up now, I don't have much more time to play with distractions. So you're either gonna be an asset towards where I'm trying to go and what I'm trying to do, and you're gonna be on the boat completely and be like, understand that the beat completely blatant, completely honest. You're gonna be second string to what I'm trying to accomplish. If I meet somebody that's okay with that and understands that and are willing to play that role of I'm gonna be the asset and support you getting into that, I'm all for it. Let's go and let's do this because we're gonna conquer the world together. We're gonna conquer the world together, and we're gonna build what I'm trying to build together.
But you already signed that contract with yourself first.
Yeah.
So you're like,
But I already made up in my mind, like, the hardest thing for me is to understand this, right? I'm 27, and two of the women I care about most in my life, my mom and my grandma. My grandma is like 61, and she still has to work full time to sustain herself. She's getting to like, it hurts my heart to hear her say, "Oh, baby, I am tired," and then she's ready to retire. But the money she's gonna have to retire, you basically couldn't live 2 years off of.
So that's what you mean about time. Like you have this purpose that's even like greater than just you. Like you have some motivation.
Like my purpose in life is to make sure that one, when that time comes, I ain't gonna say okay because she got about like 3 more years, so I ain't gonna be able to catch her like full like when she retires. But I am gonna be able to help her out. But I made the decision in my mind that in 11 years, my mom will retire regardless of where, like, my mom will retire in 11 years. My mom would not be 60 years old still working unless she wants to work. And she would not be working because she has to. I don't care. I don't care what it's going to take. She would not be working in 11 years. On April 11th, 2033, I will give my mom a retirement letter.
That's my birthday. That's my gift to you.
Oh, that's crazy. That's her birthday.
No shit.
Yeah, that's her birthday.
Yeah.
And then also in that, I realized that 11 years, whatever, I told her I will retire you. Also to that, what I'm trying to build is a whole empire to where it's not only benefiting me. What I'm trying to, it's not just about benefiting me. Yeah, I'm gonna get to reap the benefits of that gonna come with it. It's not even about I'm gonna touch the lives of just a couple of people here. I want to be in a position when it's all said and done to where I can change the lives of millions.
Dude, so you saying that right now, like
I can help people get to where I can change the lives of like millions. That's where I'm trying to get.
So they say with the law of attraction, the stronger the intention is, the stronger that because the universe matches energy with you all the time, all the time. So like earlier when you were saying that you used to when you were younger be like, like I'm a hope, I'm a plead, blah, blah. Those are kind of weak energies.
Right.
But when you say, I am going to do this, and I know because I am doing it for the love of someone, there's nothing stronger than love. So like yesterday, I set an intention with myself literally yesterday. And sometimes when you're like present in the way that the world communicates with you, you see things instantaneously.
Right.
Like,
and this, I get it, because that's where I am. Like, I just feel like my purpose for being here in this world, and I talk to like just my spirituality, just God, this is what I feel. This is what you have instilled in me my whole life, whether I wanted to accept it or not, and then wanted to play around and keep the peasantries of, oh yeah, because some people try to talk you out of it. But I came to the conclusion in my life that what I'm trying to build isn't about just me. It isn't just about my family. It's about I'm trying. Like, I know people say I want to change the world, and then
don't do shit about it. Like,
yeah. or I know most people are just happy. And don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. We need people to do things like community center, people working like that.
Society.
What I'm trying to do is put people in a position to where they never have to face the same trials that I had to face.
Speaking,
just a mere speck of just I say something can change somebody's life.
No, facts. Speaking of the future, anyway, and like opportunities that come about and manifesting what you want, I think it's a great time to get into the superstar lineup.
Can I? No, hold on. Wait. Let me set the stage. What? Can I do it?
What?
Can I ask the question?
Yeah, go ahead. Let's go.
I just want to do it because it's fun.
Yeah.
All right. You want to put the glasses on?
Yeah,
this
is
the
the
glasses
superstars,
on.
right?
Yeah. Dun dun dun. Dun 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 dun.
Different persona.
All right. Omar. You ready?
Yes, I am, Jay.
Netflix contacts you. They say, hey, man, business is not doing well. Business is not booming. Look, man, we know you got it. We know you got the creative gene. We know you got everything we need. Look, things are not going well, right? Here's $500 million. Omar, we need you to give us a project to save our company. You got 1.5 years to do it. $500 million to do this in 1.5 years. Or a year and a half, rather. So, the question is, what's the project?
Oh, shit.
Who's the director? What's your role? Who's your supporting cast?
Oh shit! So you're asking me a question that I'd have like a year to decide shit, and like,
a year and a half, and you gotta come up with a project, a director, gotta have a role for yourself in mind, and then the supporting cast.
Okay, so and this is
it's to save Netflix.
It's to save Netflix, so this has to be the bomb. So first of all, I'm gonna just speak out loud so everyone can hear my thought process.
Yeah.
But I believe that
definitely gonna put a sound bed under this.
Yeah. This generation doesn't have its own unique nerdy fandom, because like if you think about Lord of the Rings, you think about Harry Potter, and like things of that nature that have like been a staple, and like Star Wars and stuff. Has there ever been something released in the last like 20 years where everybody's like, this is the series, this is like what people are gonna
last
go
20 years? I mean, you got stuff. You had Twilight. You
I
had
understand what
Harry
he means.
Potter.
Yeah.
Like
something new, like
Game of Thrones is probably the only, and I'm not even sure when George R.R. Martin started writing those. I feel like it might have been in the last 20 years. It might not have been, but Game of Thrones
right?
really the only thing that's come out recently that's like, hey, like it's big, like it's got a massive fandom. The majority of that stuff, you're right, is from ages back, you know what I mean?
Right,
like a good 40, 50, 60 years, you know what I mean, depending on what time period it was written in.
So I would do a project where I feel like I could touch people's minds just a little bit, but still keep them in that fantasy world. So the project would be something along the lines of maybe not medieval, but something that has to do with alchemy, has to do with
TV or movie?
Movie.
Okay.
Or episodic.
Or an episodic.
Yeah,
okay.
episodic, like a Narcos kind of thing.
Okay.
Where you have themes like of mysticism, but
Uh-huh.
that is based in truth, because you hear
Okay.
and read about alchemy and stuff.
Oh,
Okay.
hell yeah.
But that's all like based in the truth of sacred geometry,
Yeah, yeah.
energy transmutation. Mass and
Uh-huh.
matter can't be created, destroyed. It's just transferred. So
Yeah.
Right.
I believe that there are lost arts in the world, and
Mhm.
like I feel like people could read each other's minds if we had that kind of experience. So I want to introduce a show where there's like spiritual lessons, like patience and connection and observation and mindfulness, but then also like have people like blast each other with like fucking spells. So
That's cool.
so something like arcane arts or something that
Okay.
probably yeah.
I like
and
that.
and I would get a director that has either directed something like Game of Thrones. I'd get the director from that. There's a director for the new Lord of the Rings Amazon thing. I would need an eye for that.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't, if since this I'm getting 500 million for this to produce, shoot, and make this. I would, of course, like get like known actors and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want to play the lead role. I would want to like play like a kind of like guiding, maybe like I love acting, but I would
Like a TT,
Yeah,
a
yeah.
Tiki, what's his name? Tahiti Wyatt,
yeah
like type of deal where he's like in the movie, but he's like, he's like another character to kind of guide the main
yeah
character.
like
Ooh,
a like
Taika Waititi?
Yeah.
Oh.
yeah like a person to kind of just guide the main cast, guide the story, and maybe pops in and here and there, and is kind of maybe like how you guys are Marvel fans. You guys know the Watchers.
Uh-huh.
Oh, hell
Like
yeah, yeah.
like
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of be a more involved watcher. Be
Yeah,
like
you don't
yes,
get involved. You
Uh-huh.
just
Yeah, but-
chilling, watching the dimensions
yeah,
type
yeah,
shit.
like,
Yeah,
but I'm an
yeah,
all-knowing kind of. I think that would be really sick.
Uh-huh.
And then of course, I would have to put some of my talented friends on,
Okay.
because I would be pissed if I was ever in a situation like you talk about, no one like going through what you went through.
Uh-huh.
I'd be upset knowing what I've gone through in my journey and like the patience I've had to ensue, knowing that I have the ability to give my friends like a
Uh-huh.
footstool. I'd be like, yeah, bro, you're gonna be in this. You're gonna be not like not incompetent motherfuckers. Not like people are like, hey,
Yeah,
Omar,
yeah.
put me on. Haha. No, I'd be like, no, bro, I've seen you.
Nah, dog.
I send me your reel.
That's
Like,
a
send
no
me
for
like
me,
see what's going on.
You can give them like a background or guest role. They come
Mhm.
in, pop in the scene.
Oh yeah, little cameo, like villager
Yeah.
number 2 or something. Like I'd give them a footstool. I wouldn't just give away the world.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right.
But like when it
Because
comes
it is Netflix.
yeah, when it comes to writing, I would, hire like some of the writers from the shows I've listed, but I would also put like people that I know in the room too. Just be like, okay, like I know some big nerdy D&D fans, Lord of the Rings fans, things with big worlds and big lore, and since that's the movie I'm kind of going for. I would need some of my friends that maybe like play Dungeons and Dragons or like.
So
Hell
what?
yeah.
So what I'm hearing is basically you got like you gonna hire some. Basically, it's sounding like you would create a live action version of like a Dungeons and Dragons meet King Arthur meet the Watcher type of deal.
Me and Harry, yeah,
Or
dude.
Meets The Witcher, meets.
Cause where people criticize things is when they're based off of like a previous text.
Right.
Oh, this wasn't like the book. This wasn't like the original movies. Blah blah blah. But if you create a big world with interesting characters and interesting dynamics, that is a standalone thing, and you throw that at people, all they're gonna say is, "This is different and amazing."
Right.
That's what made Lord of the Rings great. That's what made Harry Potter great. That's what made Game of Thrones great. Is because
Right.
yeah, they were based on books and stuff, but they also like were able to like be their own thing, because a lot of people watch
Yeah,
these movies
exactly.
So who
Like
is a-
things like Dune,
first. Yeah.
Star Trek, Star Wars. Like it heavily inspired a lot of the stuff that we've gotten. Whether it's like fiction books or whether it's like TV shows and stuff. Like whether it's Battlestar Galactica or what's this one called? Stargate, things like that.
Some fucking
Like
shit. It's not like a Star Trek spin-off or
You
something?
know what I mean? Like all that stuff. There's always stuff that's come before it. It just becomes a matter of what can you do that's different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So I would create, like, my team would be a mix of professionals and people I trust, and I would try to make one intimate team to be like, hey, this is the project, this is what we're doing, we're all on the same page, let's work together. So I would need people who have been in it for years, but I would also need fresh perspectives because
Right.
I learned from me teaching. I said earlier that you could be a genius and you just not know because like you haven't said your thoughts out loud. Is the way that I would manage and teach a classroom and organize lessons plans weren't the ways that these people would do it for like that have been in the education business for like 20. I say business for like 20 years. And they'll say like, wow, I like the way you do your opener. Oh, I like the way you do your transitions. I like how you do a callback. Like I never do that. That stuff wasn't taught to me. It's just like what I initially have felt. So I feel like when you bring somebody into a world, a business, an industry, a situation where like, hey, I have all these fresh ideas because I haven't been, impacted by what you guys have been doing. You guys have been talking to each other for so many years. You think there's only one way to do this. So like when you think about a kid, like what do they have? They have imagination and creativity simply because is that still going?
Yeah, it's still going.
Yeah,
I just had to make sure.
Yeah, they have creativity because they're not one, they're not afraid of being judged. Two, they're like, I don't know any different because the enemy of new knowledge and new ideas is old knowledge and old ideas. They say a lot of the time like a wise man knows nothing at all. So sometimes when you're in a creative process, it's best to just start from scratch. It's best to like get someone who supposedly knows nothing and compare it to someone who supposedly knows everything. Put them in a room together, and that's when.
No doubt, no doubt, no definitely. Yeah.
I was gonna ask like who are some names you want to put in it?
Oh, dude, I'd have to put my boy Tate McMillan in it. He's the roommate I was talking about earlier. He has a writing thumb. He's literally writing skits for us like right now. We're gonna like start like uploading those. Also a great actor. I would want to, dude. I would want to put. I'm trying to think of his name. He literally Ian McKellen.
Okay.
Oh
Ian McKellen.
One of the goats for sure.
Yeah. I put Ian McKellen in there. I would love.
Who's your ingenue?
Ingenue? Ooh, Anne Hathaway.
Oh, I love me some Anne Hathaway.
I already know she can play. She can play
But
princess.
she's kind of old though.
Hey, bro, do you see what she looking like? Bro,
she's
you
still
see?
looking fine. Yo, Anne Hathaway's still looking bad, boy.
It just Hey, you better. Hey, she's in this movie with Zendaya right now. They look the same fucking age. And like the main character doesn't always have to be some young like apprentice. It could be some guy who's dropped into this fictional world, and maybe he was like, in America normally, and that's like boom, now I'm in like this Middle Earth type shit. So that's the thing is that a lot of kids and teenagers have that like I don't want this to be like a coming of age thing. If I make this, I'd want it to be like, I'm a man. I have thought about
and
the
then
world.
Get punched in the face by an actual man.
Yeah. Like,
I'm a man. Bow.
Okay,
I'm not a man.
I'm not a man no more. That's a fucking dragon. I want to go home. Like,
fuck this bullshit.
Yeah.
Is there before we end off? Is there you already obviously shouted out your friend Tate McMillan, and we'll definitely be sure to get get the IGs and stuff, put that out there. But is there anyone else you want to shout out, dude? In general,
yeah. Let me shout out my boy LJ. His Spotify and like Instagram, everything is LJ is on fire.
LJ
and
is
he makes he's one of the dudes that I would love freestyling with back in college.
Yeah.
He makes unique hip hop flows. There's nobody who literally sounds like him. He'll make a song about anything. He'll make a song about kicking your ass in Super Smash. He'll be like making a song about Cinnabons and shit. Like he's someone who truly has fun with them. So LJ is on fire. Check him out for sure.
LJ is on fire.
Yeah. And there's more people, but like I can't bring them all to name. So maybe
so we got Tate and then
LJ is on. Yeah. So
all right, shout out. We'll definitely be sure to get
Artist of the Week segment.
Definitely be sure to get there.
So you watch
info out.
It's basically just our segment where we just highlight up and coming artists. And yes, so we got LJ is on fire and Tate McMillan, right?
Yeah.
Bet. Got anything else you want to add?
No, honestly, I'd just have to say it was an absolute pleasure.
It was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Omar Idris, having you on the
Jay,
podcast, man. Hey, yo, man, you're a gem, dude. So I'm really hoping that everything goes well with your career, man. And, we're definitely gonna be putting in work, and it definitely won't be the last time you'll be seeing his ass on the podcast.
Back,
for sure. You gotta come back for part 2. You know how this goes, man.
All right. With that, Culture Clowns, we out.
Peace.